For most of my life, this is how my daily routine used to look like. When it was time to go to school during the week, I would wake up at 7 a.m., not even being disciplined at all. Our dad used to always wake us up. And me, being the undisciplined prick that I was back then, I would barely open my eyes. I would start stretching like I just woke up from a coma, for example, and I would lay there for like 5 extra minutes. And then when I did eventually get up, I would slowly make my way to the bathroom, and I would stay there for like another 5 minutes, and then eventually I would come downstairs and change my clothes to get ready for school. And I wasn't disciplined at all to, groom my hair, to brush my teeth, to maybe do a little bit of a workout session, to meditate, to gratitude journal. In fact, I didn't even know what meditation and gratitude journaling were back then. So I was anxious all the time, I was depressed all the time, I was mindless all the time, and that totally reflected itself in school. I felt the consequences in my bad grades, in my shitty relationships with the people around me, even though we weren't quite compatible. I found it hard to focus on them and to come up with conversation topics that they would like to talk about sometimes. Like, of course, if you would have talked to me, I would have been a totally nice person to you. I would have been mindful, or at least I would try, and I would talk to you if I had something to say. But back then, my social intelligence skill was at its lowest, and so I was totally bad at communicating. And so I would sit inside of our car, and we would drive off to school. And I would think to myself, finally, some peace and quiet. I can just listen to the radio, and suddenly we were at school, because we lived like 3 minutes away from it. And so once again, right to the changing room, changing my shoes, and going up the stairs to my classroom, where our teachers used to yell at us for 5 hours straight. And I would just sit there behind my desk most of the time, barely talking to anyone. And then, when we could finally go home, I would go and eat lunch, and usually my classmates would sit right next to me. But most of the time we had nothing to talk about, so I was, the forced one behind the table who wasn't talking to anyone and who just wanted to, eat his lunch and just get home right away. Because, my house was my safe haven. I finally had some peace of mind away from school. I could have jumped on my trampoline. I could have watched YouTube for 5 hours straight. I could have played Minecraft and indulged in the beautiful music and in the powerful world building. I could have fapped like 3 times per day to finally get some sense of gratification that I wasn't getting from real life. I really thought that when I was doing those bad habits, I was really relaxing. But yet, I was just taking pleasure away from my future self. But what I'm really grateful for, and something that I keep to this day, is my discipline to do the homework. Because you see, ever since I was like 13 years old, every time I would come home from school, I would do my homework immediately, like the first thing when we got home. And I still have this good trait inside of me to this day, so that's something I'm really grateful for. But apart from that, I was a lazy piece of shit. Like I said, I fapped, I ate sugary bullshit, I scrolled on social media for hours on end. I never indulged in TikTok and Instagram. Like, sure, I used Instagram for messaging purposes, but I never found myself scrolling for more than 1 hour every single day on it. I usually was a YouTube person. That's why you see me uploading these YouTube videos, because YouTube is my most familiar platform. I just spent the most amount of time on it. And you know what happens when you indulge in bad habits? The time flies by, like there's no tomorrow, and suddenly it was 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And so I would change my clothes again, and every day at 10 p.m., that was when our mother called us to go sleep. And thus, the cycle of doom started once again. The cycle of instant gratification. The cycle of a shitty, monotone life. Now, to be fair though, I could have afforded to live this life for the rest of my life. You see, my family is financially well off. My dad has a great business, so theoretically I could have kept it up with being a loser, and yet I would have inherited his firm. his business. So I was basically already set. But then I asked myself, is life as a man really worth it of wasting it like this? Of being a useless piece of shit that masturbates on anime girls 3 times per day? That spends most of his time watching bullshit content on YouTube just to compensate for the lack of fun and relationships in his life? Is it really worth it to spend 3 hours playing video games like Minecraft, CSGO, when you could go out adventuring in real life? And then I heard one quote that changed my entire view on masculinity forever. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. And hard times create strong men. Do you know where I was in this cycle? My dad was the strong man, and he created the good times. And I was living in the good times. And when 99% of people find themselves in these good times, we already know what happens, right? 500 genders, everyone being cancelled on YouTube, on Twitter because they have nothing to do, pointless drama that is plaguing every single social media article, that is plaguing our news. You know, there's gossip everywhere, degeneracy is widespread everywhere. And so I just asked myself, do I really want to end up like them? No, I can't let this happen. This cannot be me. Just please, God, tell me. If there's a way out, I will do anything. I don't want to end up like them. I already knew what it's like to give up my soul, to just have more social gratification. And it wasn't cool. I didn't get any respect from them, like I did get the social gratification, but not in a respectful way. And around spring of 2023, when I finally started to form real desires, masculine desires, like wanting to provide for my future family, financially and emotionally also, I wanted to get more serious in my exercising journey. I wanted to improve my mental health, which I've been wanting to do ever since the quarantine started. And best of all, I wanted to actually improve my social skills so that I would have the high quality people next to me, like for example my future wife, those high quality men that would be my competition. And unlike my classmates who are no competition to me, like they quite literally, they drink alcohol, they take, snus and stuff like that. Like no offense to them, but they're just pure degenerates. And that is my competition? How the fuck am I supposed to grow with people like that around me? With people who are just living their teens and their 20s to their fullest, who are indulging in the good times like there's no tomorrow. Surely there had to be a way out, right? And luckily, I wouldn't have to wait for long. Because in summer of 2023, I discovered a really interesting YouTube video from a really big self-improvement YouTuber that motivated me, that literally lit up my soul on fire to get going. And bro, when I heard this analogy, I got so fucking motivated to get on self-improvement. Like, I'm not joking. I started to read books, I started to watch long-form educational videos on YouTube, I started to wake up at 5 a.m, I started exercising more, I started to meditate, finally for the first time, so I improved my attention span, I started journaling, gratitude journaling, so I improved my positive thinking, I started to adventure more into nature, I improved my willpower, my discipline, my productiveness, and let me tell you, if I had an option to go back to that monotone life, where I had, instant gratification, apart from delayed gratification, which I now get from self-improvement. You know how after you do the bad habit, like after you eat the chocolate bar, you then get the clarity moment. Basically, it feels all good when you eat it, but then you have the few moments of you feeling like shit. Well, it's not like few moments, it's like a few hours when you think about it. You basically trade like few good moments for a couple of hours of just pain and just reflecting and being disappointed in yourself. If I could have just pressed a button to go back to that monotone life, but this time, never feeling that clarity moment ever again. Like I could have just indulged in instant gratification activities for the rest of my life, and I just wouldn't feel bad about them. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back to that safe, comfortable ass life, because comfort is the killer of man. I would have never had the respect that I have now from the people around me, and I would have been just like them. Another loser without a personality. You see, life as a man is a fucking test. If you're a masculine, stoic man, then every single second of your life is a temptation. It is the literal universe trying to see if you're really the man that you think you are, the real, the stoic, the brave, the masculine man that you think yourself to be. Life is throwing temptations at you, even right now. Me trying to motivate you, to light your soul on fire. Like for example me calling you a useless piece of shit is a test on itself, because I'm saying it out of tough love. I don't mean it to actually make you mad. I want to truly motivate you to actually start doing something with your life. And let me tell you bro, if you get mad at that when I call you a retarded monkey for example, if you don't use it as a source of motivation to start growing and to work harder to become the best version of yourself, then honestly, life is gonna get really hard for you later down the line. If you're a man who's in his teens and in his 20s, then you can afford to make as much risks as possible. Because here's the thing, success is never linear. It is not just a line that slowly but surely goes upwards. No, my friend. Success works like this. It is like a mountain. Imagine it like a frequency, for example, if you've ever seen one. The frequency goes up and then down. The up meaning the short-term success, and that down meaning the trials and tribulations that you go through on your self-improvement journey. Like for example, the up can be like you finally making a YouTube channel and finally being proud of yourself for taking action. Then the down can be, for example, like disappointment that your first video didn't pop off, but then it suddenly rises again. You're suddenly getting views. You get what I'm saying? Success is never linear. It always works like this, with up and down periods. And there's this really powerful quote that states, if you want to be successful, then you have to fall 7 times. And on the 8th time, when you get up, that's where the delayed gratification will come. Because eventually, all of your effort, all of your hard work will be rewarded. But unfortunately, life as a man is really fucking hard. And so it is up to you if you can survive those down periods, those periods of disappointment, of anger, of depression, of anxiety. I have been there, and look where I am now. I have lived through those periods, and I'm still continuing with this YouTube channel. Like sure, there are some up periods where I get a couple of 100 views, for example, like in like 3 days. Those good periods still come, but yeah, the down periods have to come as well. But when they come, I don't change a single fucking bit. I stay hard on my grind, and I continue to stay disciplined. It's 6:11 in the morning, and I'm recording this video 13 minutes in. Or for example, it doesn't have to be YouTube, like we said. It can be, for example, your weightlifting journey. You have had the first success, the first up period of actually going to the gym. Then you have the down period, where you find out that you cannot lift the heavy weights that you thought you could. But then you slowly but eventually, you build yourself up so you can lift them up. And you slowly get that up period suddenly, because you can finally lift like, I don't know, 10 kilograms or something. But then you suddenly find out that you cannot lift the 15 kilograms. And so you have the down periods. And this happens like 7 to 8 times. And then suddenly on the 8th time, it explodes. And you break a dam. And all of the long-term rewards come flowing in like there's no tomorrow. When you live like this, when you take risks, when you step out of your comfort zone, when you have these periods of anger, of disappointment, of depression, of anxiety, when you literally have the most down bad periods, when you don't believe that life will get any better. That means that you're getting somewhere, that you're destined for success. Life is never linear. The way that I lived in the story was a flat line. I never took any risks. I just settled for that mediocre life. Well, you could also argue that my life back then was slowly but surely going linearly downwards. But let me tell you, when I started living like this, with these up and down periods, my life became instantly so much more interesting, and I finally got the respect from people around me, because now I am disciplined to go to the gym. I am disciplined to wake up at 5 a.m. I am disciplined to make these types of videos, because I know that eventually the 8th time will come, the dam will literally break, and I will get literally showered in long-term gratification. So let me ask you, bro, do you want to live the flatline life that you've been living for your entire life? Because honestly, you could be living this life for the rest of your life if your family is financially well off. All you have to do is basically just copy your father's business, and you'll be successful too in like 20 years. Yeah, you can go enjoy your teens and your 20s. But let me tell you, 10 years down the line, I will be in bed with your future wife. But it's okay, enjoy your teens and your 20s, it's okay. Just spend more time on instant gratification activities, it's fine. But to those who are inspired, and if you don't have any other option, then you have to live this riskful life. You are in your teens and your 20s, and let me tell you, when you get into your 30s and your prime starts, it will be infinitely harder to take risks and to actually succeed, because by that point you'll be in the productive age of your life, and it will be way harder for you to actually sit down and be disciplined. So you better take risks now. You need to go through absolute hell right now to see your success, and when your success comes, bro, you will never scroll on YouTube again, you will never load up video games again, and you will start masturbating less, because now you will have success in wealth, in health, and in relationships also. And as a last tip for making it this far into the video, I want you to redefine a mistake. Because if you have the bullshit definition of a mistake like the 99% of people do, if you lash out every single time you make a mistake, when you get something wrong, then you will end up like the 99% of people. But I want you to, from now on, look at a mistake as a good thing, as a sort of life lessons, because that's what a mistake is. It is just a way that life tells you, oh no, you shouldn't have done this like this. Okay, so just remember it for the next time, so that you don't get it wrong again. I know that it is frustrating as hell when you make that mistake, but anger won't get you anywhere. The discipline to actually find the life lesson will. And I know that if you're watching this video 18 minutes in, I know that you're not like the 99% of people. I know that you want to live this riskful life. I know that you want to go through hell because you have a triple-digit IQ, and you understand that if you go through hell right now, that 1 year from now, you will have the best life that you can imagine yourself to have. And let me tell you, you have way more potential than you think you have. Because let me tell you, by this point, 18.5 minutes in, 99% of people have already clicked off. It's just you and me right now, the only people on self-improvement who are actually taking it seriously. And so, if you want to quit this mediocre, flatline life, and if you want to grow like there's no tomorrow, if you want to get surrounded by healthy competition of men who have the same values as you, the same likes and dislikes, then you can join our clan in the description and become a part of the family. I know that you'll find your place in there. You can subscribe if you like the video, comment on which part of the video you liked the most, and which part of the video you will implement in your life. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and remember, no one is better at being you.